Welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host,
Grandma Gail.
So I am back in Florida recording this with Grandma. I've been in New York City the last 2 weeks, maybe. I've been doing 2 weeks.
Which is a good plan because New York is really opening up and it's fun, and you got a lot of friends now in New York that are back.
I know, and I feel like it's been much needed. Once all the people my age in Palm Beach sort of go back to New York, the vibe changes a little bit. Oh, did you see that article in the Times?
What was that?
About how young people are like infiltrating Palm Beach.
Well, we saw that last year, so I'm sure the article is 100% correct. But I don't know if they can do it unless they have a steady job down here. It's pretty hard.
That's what didn't make sense to me. I'm like, where are all these people coming from? But you do see it, right? Like the Colony has all these young people hanging out.
Well, there's a whole big community that's all over West Palm Beach. They've got loads of large apartment buildings and townhouses that are just recently been built in the last couple of years, and they're attracting young professionals who are coming down here to make a lifestyle and work change in a warm climate.
Yeah, I'm not sure though. Like, I can't tell if the people we're seeing around are like all West Palm people, or if it's just like a lot of people visiting from other places or like staying with their families for the season. I feel like a lot of people are like living down here.
Yeah,
like,
but they're not living down here at this point.
Partially.
Right. I was unless they have a job down here, or unless they can work on Zoom. Yeah, they might be working on remote.
And then they come down.
You're right.
I mean, right? I don't know.
It's certainly a nice way to get out of the cold weather, but I sort of miss the cold. I'm ready to go back to some nice, normal spring weather.
I'll tell you what I've been up to.
Well, give me some highlights. You don't have to give me every day.
I woke up.
That's more than I need to know.
Yeah. Well, I joined this club Zero Bond, so I've been hanging out there a little bit, and I've seen some people we've done podcast stuff with.
Oh, that's fun.
I saw the girls from Sweats in the City who we did an Instagram thing with, but I want to have them on the podcast soon. Elizabeth and Dale. I saw just around New York City. I saw Batsheva. I didn't tell you that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was just on the street. I don't know. I said, "Do you remember you did my podcast?" I think she remembered. I couldn't tell.
Kimmy, no one forgets you.
Oh, thanks. I think no one forgets you. I saw somebody else too, but now I'm blanking.
It's all right because I've been getting people who come up to me at all the different restaurants.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say. So I went to all of these like Jewish events when I was back, like a gala for UJA, and then I went to this Purim party, which by the way, it's like you could write that into a sitcom.
But that was for the was that for the Jewish Museum?
For the Jewish Museum. Right. And they had like on a giant thing, it was like Purim party, and it was like trendy, but it was so funny because like, I don't know, it just felt funny to me, and people were going up being like, "Where's the Hamantashen?" as like a pickup line, which was quite funny. What I was saying was at these parties, so many people came over to me being like, "I love your TikTok with your grandma," and I'm like,
"Oh, that's so nice.
That's so nice. This is probably our audience," but it was also funny because I was like, "Does any boys want to talk to me, or just young girls saying I like your TikTok?" But either way, I'll take it. Otherwise, what did I do? I hung out with friends. I went on some dates. Oh, this is actually funny. I was on a first date at a bar, and we were standing at the bar, and this woman just inserted herself into our date. She was alone at the bar.
Maybe she liked your date.
No, I don't think so. She was like, "Do you want to hear all about my divorce that I'm going through?"
Oh, right. Then she liked you. Maybe she wanted to be on. She knew you're an influencer and wanted to be on your podcast.
She didn't. Didn't. But it was actually really funny because like she wasn't getting the hint and was kind of just like talking to us for half an hour. Yeah. But she was a nice woman. We had a lot in common actually, which was funny. You're reading your phone, your text messages, so you're not even paying attention to me speaking. Thank you. Anything you want to add?
No, when you were up in New York having a good time, I was down here. I won bridge 2 weeks in a row. I had to get back into the
So what was that, $8?
No, not $8. Second place was $7, and then I think I got $3, which was probably not even worth my
Damn.
gas to get to the location.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. The weather's been nice. We had some rain when you were up north, but you know what? It's fine, and I'm looking forward to the season now quieting down, and after the holidays going back up north. I am so excited to get a New York fix.
Yeah, and we have Passover this weekend.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But it feels not like the old Passover when we'd had the whole family
I
together.
know.
It's sort of half a Passover. Maybe next year we'll have a complete family table, and I'll cook my brisket again.
The traditions are really kind of dwindling, which sucks.
Yeah, well, it's not that the tradition; it's just harder
No,
and
because
harder
we're like
for
not
people.
are we gonna read a?
Yes, of course
Okay.
we're going to have a service.
Okay. And then Sunday, it's Easter Sunday, so I'm sure everyone will be busy with those plans as well.
We'll all put on our Easter bonnets.
So
I know, Kimmy, you're so excited about the guys we're interviewing today. So give everybody a heads up.
yes, Isaac Boots, you guys might know him. He's like a celebrity fitness trainer. He has the Torched workout, and he's between New York City, the Hamptons, Palm Beach, kind of follows his clientele. He has a big Instagram presence, and he is in a relationship with Jeffrey. They were married in December. They're the cutest couple, and we have them both on. Our second couple we've had on. We've only had gay couples, so if we would love to interview a straight couple at some point, but
they're terrific, and I think you're going to love the dynamics between the two of them. They're just the cutest men.
they are so funny, and we hear all about their
And sincere.
Yes.
And they're doing wonderful, wonderful work for charity.
Yeah,
so
that's
enjoy.
so incredible. So we hope you enjoyed the episode. Guys, we are joined by Isaac Boots and his husband, Jeffrey Patrick. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's start with your ages, if you want to share, your relationship status, and where you're from and currently living.
How dare you? I'm 41 and Jeffrey is 35. Yeah.
Oh,
I robbed the cradle.
you did. You did.
Not too bad.
Yeah. And Davis is almost 3. So
Oh yeah, guys, I'm going to clip this up for Instagram, but if you are only listening to audio, they're holding the most adorable poodle.
With a Gucci little sweater, which I'm going to, somehow I'm going to steal it and put it on. I don't know if it'll stretch to fit me. It's the cutest.
yes.
And Grandma loves Gucci.
And I feel like now your little family is so iconic. Like I've seen you around Palm Beach and potentially in the Hamptons too. And Davis is always with you. Does anyone ever give you shit for bringing him around?
It's happened a few times, but I have to say, like he's ultimately he wins everyone's hearts over because he's really well behaved, and I think he's so used to always being on me or Jeffrey that he socializes well with people and dogs, so he's not like barky and like
Right.
Well, poodles don't bark that much, do they?
I don't know.
I think they're a non-barking group.
I've always had poodles, and they've always tended to be very sort of like sweet and smart.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are very smart. That's why they mix them with every other
Right.
breed.
True.
It's true. Yeah.
And then how long have you guys been married?
I guess it's
Uh-oh. See, stale already.
yeah. Since
5 months.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, very nice. And I want to hear all about like the proposal and the marriage story, but let's start from the very beginning. Isaac, how did you kind of start your career in fitness?
Well, I mean, I'm a dancer, and I always consider myself a dancer, no matter where my career and my life has taken me. I always say that I came out of the womb dancing. And, and even the way I approach fitness and the way I approach how I train anyone is from a dancer's perspective. And I think that's why most of my clients are performers, are singers, are on the stage or on film. Because I ultimately created Torched for myself when I was a dancer in West Side Story on Broadway. Because I didn't have time to go to the gym and run in the park and do all the things that I would normally love, because as you know, West Side Story really is arguably the most challenging dance show.
Grandma, you love who?
It was my favorite, the original, which he was not in. But I saw the original, and then I saw the second one that was on Broadway that I guess you must have been in.
Well, the second one was with Debbie Allen in 19.
Yes. Were you in that one?
No. I was born in 80.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm so old, I've seen all of them. Whatever it is, I've seen it.
That's, what's really fabulous about that. I was in the 2008 revival at the Palace Theater.
Okay.
But about what you just said, and I love that you saw both of those, is that the original in 1957 was at Winter Garden Theater on 50th Street, where I debuted on Broadway years prior in Mamma Mia.
Oh my gosh.
Mamma Mia was my first show, and then West Side was my last show. And so it sort of felt like a circular moment. And Arthur Lawrence, who wrote West Side Story.
Isaac, did you sing in it too?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Can you do a little Maria together?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I have to dance. I have to throw my skirt out and do that. Not Maria. Maria was
America.
That America scene. That was the best. That stole the whole movie and show.
Actually directed us in our revival. So he was like 92.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Amazing. It really was a special time.
Yeah.
But that's part of my DNA. And so I approach every class I teach, even like a performance, a show. And for me, that is rooted in technique, that rooted in my training. And so the way I even, shift people's alignment is kind of from a dancer's perspective.
Okay. And before coming to New York, you grew up in Hawaii, right?
I did. Yes. And I didn't plan to wear this Hawaiian.
But it's on theme.
Yeah.
It's great. It's terrific.
I was born and raised in Hawaii, and I grew up in a very small town. I come from a very different world.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful to look at. And I think, as a child, I don't think I necessarily realize.
Yeah. Well, that's always the case,
right?
You forget how beautiful things are when you get caught up in a big city and all the noise and the chatter, and then you say, "Oh, my little village was pretty cool."
Exactly. Or like going to an East Coast beach for the first time. I was like, different.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a big difference.
Jeffrey, where were you growing up, and how do you think your childhood looked different than Isaac's?
I grew up in Toronto in Canada, and I grew up in a very waspy area, very waspy life. But the one thing we actually have in common is dance. So I started dancing from a very young age because of my height. I'm 6'4".
I'm not.
Good things come in small packages. Grandma taught me that.
That's the best.
Exactly. Yes.
And so, I just feel like dance was something we had in common, and the art was a way for me to connect outside of my wasp nest.
Listen, there's a place for everybody. Trust me.
Then when you guys first met, did you talk about your love of dance, or what do you think was one of the first things you really connected on?
No, they looked in each other's eyes, Kimmy, and they saw that most handsome guy. He fell in love. That was it.
It was his eye.
Dancing.
The first thing he said was he didn't like my eyebrows, and that was
God.
Wait, what was the second thing?
that we're growing my eyebrows in.
Oh.
I saw the potential. I am a choreographer, so I see what it can be.
Right.
But, our first date, we met on Instagram.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Yes.
Oh, Kimmy likes that.
Slid into his DMs. Well, he followed me first,
But you slid into
I slid in.
Mm-hmm.
I am a Scorpio, so I don't mince words. And we just, we set up a FaceTime date. He was in Toronto, I was in New York City, and that first FaceTime date was just like nice and seamless and cool. And so I invited him to come down to New York that weekend. Weekend, so like 3 days after, and he came down for what was supposed to be, Friday till Monday morning, and we just kept extending it by 4 days, and then 2 weeks, and then like 3 months, and then
it was it.
We're still on our first date. So like New Year's came, and he was like, "Okay, what's going on?" I was like, "Well, you're not leaving." And so his best friend packed up his place, and we got married on our first date, I guess.
Right. You just kept
That's
it going.
That's
so
very
nice because I
very
feel like that rarely happens. Like, when do you just like hit it off with someone right away? And I feel like that's what dreams are made of. Like, that's what people fantasize about.
Yeah, I do. I think, and we've spoken about this a lot. It's sort of, and still is, but it's sort of, it just grew very slowly, actually.
Well, that's correct. It grew. They gave each other time to make a relationship.
She's acting like she was there. You don't know.
I'm telling you, but they work at it, and they saw potential, and they kept going until it really became a good relationship, right?
Like, I wake up every day and I look over at him in the morning, and I'm like, it's like a little bit more every day.
That's wonderful, right?
I don't know, we like each other.
Mhm.
And I don't think people talk about that in
Right.
like each other.
Right.
And so I think we don't even have to work at respecting each other, because it's understood.
Mhm.
Good.
And then how did the proposal go down?
Jeffrey, give us your side.
Well, just for context, the week before, we're at a wedding for one of his very best friends, Danae. And he turned to me at one point. He's like, "I'm never getting married." I was like, "That's fine."
I was just being, sardonic
and hyperbolic.
Yeah.
And that week he had somehow managed to sneak away and create a scenario where he could apparently do some prep work. And it was interesting because there's a group text thread, and all of a sudden they started referencing something.
A group text thread of my best girlfriends. And
Okay.
But I guess I missed the cue, but they had referenced something that I wasn't on a thread. So I was kind of like, oh, I don't know what's really going on. But, his best friend, Miley from Hawaii, and her daughter, Serena, flew in that Thursday.
Wow.
Coincidentally.
Really? Oh, it wasn't planned.
Friends, like
I'm getting in on this. I love this. This is a good romance here.
I see her like once every 5 years. She coincidentally flew in on a Friday. Our 1 year anniversary was on Saturday, and I didn't even tell her that I was planning to propose to him on the anniversary. So she happened to be there with my niece, and
it's great.
I sort of gathered all my best friends to hide at De Beers on Madison Avenue, because I knew that we could get like a private moment on the second floor. I didn't want to do it in front of people I didn't know.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
It's sacred. But our friends are our family. Ultimately, they're the ones that really are. I mean, I was just saying that how lucky you are to have two of your grandmas. It's
Yes,
we are
I am.
fortunate.
Mhm.
very special. And you tell the rest.
So,
The short version.
well, I'm just going to one important part. Miley came from Hawaii, and she brought leis for us. And the lei that she brought for me was actually what a man would wear on his wedding day. Yet at this point, she had no idea.
Oh.
So that was
Whoa.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
And so he told me on the Friday night before our anniversary, which was Saturday, that we had this meeting. Somebody from De Beers from Europe was coming in, wanted to meet with us for a campaign he was doing. I was like, okay, great. We have a great relationship with De Beers. We love them. And
For those who don't know, it's the diamond business.
Yeah.
Because you're broadcasting out to a lot of people that might not know that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful diamond business.
So we, he says we're going uptown and then we'll have brunch at the Mark. And I was like, okay, great. So then, I planned a whole thing the next morning thinking like, I'm going to win the anniversary. And I got two pieces of art. Steph Amoroso wrote a song for us about a year before about our relationship. And she performed it in the morning and I made breakfast. So
it was very sweet.
We end up, it was great. I was like, I won the anniversary. Perfect. So go uptown at around like 1:00. We walk into De Beers with Miley and her daughter Serena, and all of a sudden they're like, there's a couple people around, and they're pulling out like really big diamond rings, like this, just massive, huge,
like $10 million rings.
Right. We don't want that. It's too small.
They're candy.
I didn't plan that part.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So then all of a sudden, he takes Davis off the leash and Davis runs upstairs
because he can smell his antiques.
Oh.
I thought you were going to say he could smell a good diamond.
Yes.
He is a luxurious boy.
Yes.
So we get to the top of the stairs and he was ahead of me and he turns around and he has a ring in his hand. And then
and I got on my knees.
He got on his knees.
And my friends all creeped around the corner and then were like photos and video. But his best friends, who are family to him, still weren't able to travel from Canada
because of COVID.
Yes, exactly. And so I arranged for two of my best friends to FaceTime his two best friends. So that
very nice.
And my best friend didn't take my call for like a week because I guess he knew.
Oh, he didn't want to spoil.
He didn't want to spoil the thing.
Complaining about my best friend Jeremy, who I've known since I was 3 years old. I'm like, what a jerk! Like, I was like, I don't know. He's shady.
So it was very well done. You did a good job. You both did a good job.
Just ugly cried on the Upper East Side.
Yes.
I've done that way too many times and I have not even gotten engaged. So ugly crying on the Upper East Side is a pastime of mine.
Exactly. And we, so the plan was to get married this year.
Mm-hmm.
Right, on our anniversary, November 13th. I like numbers. I thought it was, we met that day. I proposed that day. We got married that day. And as we were preparing to move basically to Palm Beach for my torched residency at the Colony, I looked at him and I was like, why don't we just get married? Like, I can't waiting. I felt strangely uncomfortable starting the new year not married. I don't know.
Was it because every old Yenta in Palm Beach would say, "Are you two married yet?"
Exactly. I think it was just to me, my proposing and him accepting, it's like, well, we're married.
Exactly.
So I was like, married. And so we reached out to my Kabbalah teacher to just make sure that, make sure that the date was aligned and correct, and December 22.
Okay.
December 22, 21.
12/22/21.
Oh, nice.
That's good numbers.
And we literally planned our wedding in like three days. We got the Central Park suite at the Carlisle. Kelly Ripa married us. We had
so nice.
And my sister was the flower girl. Faye Dunaway was our matron of honor.
Oh my gosh, this is a good wedding.
It's like central casting did this wedding.
Love this.
And we were all in white, and yes, which Faye actually chastised me about. She's like, I'm running late with your white demand.
Cute.
Very nice. It's very nice. It's a lovely story. It's a good story. I like the end of that story.
And we just like, we ordered New York's finest pepperoni pizza in and had bottles of vintage Dom, and it was beautiful.
And our friends Zara and David Tish, it was December 22, that's a busy time, and wedding cakes to get them made take time.
And it was a COVID moment too.
Yes.
You strain people were getting, sick again, it was strange. So our guest list like got lower and lower.
Right. That's all
And
right. You have enough to see. You had each other, and that's really the important thing, as it turned out.
it was perfect. In fact, there were 13 of us in the room in total, and that's our lucky number. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, great.
So I want to hear more about Torch. We were touching on some of like your celebrity clients. It's really reached like a cult level at this point. I don't know if we love that or hate like using that word, but it is what it is, I think. Is that like part of it, you think, because of the like celebrity clientele, or how did you really create like such a community?
That's a great question. I've been doing Torched for over 10 years now. And it's sort of, again, transformed organically from me being a dancer on Broadway to choreographing for, the pop stars of the day. And I would start rehearsal with whoever I was working with Torched, because again, I knew that it helped me as a dancer. Slowly but surely, people started firing their trainers, and all of a sudden my day was literal like A-list stars all day long, like private Torched sessions from Lisa Rinna to Kelly Ripa to Gwyneth Paltrow, like the list goes on. And I was like, okay, well here we are. And so for years I was flown out for events like Art Basel, Paris Fashion Week, Coachella, Oscar Week, working with different stars, for their tours, films, etc. Then COVID hit. And I decided, literally as a one-off, kind of the second day of lockdown proper in New York, I offered it at 11 a.m. on my Instagram live. I had less than 100 people on. And at the end of that live, I read, "Thank you from Guatemala." And I thought that was cool. Well, I'll do it. I'm not doing anything else, so I'll do it.
Right. I was in New York with you, so I know nobody was doing anything else.
And I was actually in East Hampton.
Oh, okay.
And it was crazy. Like every day it grew exponentially, like by 500 followers every day. And by the end of the first week, I not only had like over like 2,000 followers, 2,000 viewers on the live, globally, from Australia to Tokyo to Europe to everywhere, but my clients were on. So the Kelly Ripas and Vanessa Hudgens and Lola, and so people who are not in the industry are like, what? Like, oh, and so and the fact that I treated everyone as I always do. I treat everyone equally and with the same authentic excitement.
That's great. How does this become a financial service? I mean, if people are watching it.
I think that was an interesting part of the evolution.
Okay.
I was with this huge viewership, was getting hundreds of DMs saying, "How do we pay you?"
Right.
I felt uncomfortable charging with what was going on, with people losing jobs, the uncertainty of it all. And what really got me was the schools closing. I grew up extremely poor. I grew up on food stamps. And my first thought was, what if this had happened in 1985? I don't know how my family would have handled it. And because a lot of time, a lot of kids in the US alone rely on school lunch as their only meal. And so I reached out to No Kid Hungry, which is a charity I've always felt near and dear to my heart. And we created a specific link to donate in lieu of paying me for class every day. And it would go immediately to immediate relief in major cities, from Minneapolis to LA to New York.
Terrific. That gives me the goosebumps.
No, I know, I love it.
The first goal was really $1,000. I didn't know. No one knew. so many. It was such an uncertain time.
Mm-hmm.
The first day we raised over $10,000. We raised over $100,000, and in 6 months we passed $1 million. And I showed up every day, and everyone around the world showed up every day, literally 11 a.m. And I was like, look, I'm doing this for you. Just give us a coin, you know? And we did it, and we continue to. And I think that is the real heart of the reason people tune in to me, to that people travel around the world to take Torch live in person. I mean, at the Colony, we have people flying in literally from everywhere. Canada, Minnesota, Europe, Germany, LA, Boston, you know, people I've never met, people who've never met each other, sharing rooms at the Colony just to take Torch. And it's beyond the workout. Yes, the workout works.
Right.
But a lot of workouts work.
Right.
In fact, most workouts work because it's math, right? Move your body.
Right.
But there's something deeper, and there's something more important. And
you're part of something bigger.
You're part of something bigger. And the perk is that your butt looks so good.
Good. That's great. That's
And
great.
so the classes that you come and take in person, is that still partially donated to charity?
It depends on the event.
Okay.
Right.
If we do a big collaboration, say like with Michael Kors,
right,
a few months ago, we actually kicked off our new initiative with Michael Kors. We're working heavily with the World Childhood Foundation, which is Her Majesty Queen Sylvia of Sweden, to help stop child sex trafficking, which, by the way, has tripled in the U.S. alone in the past year.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, because people are crazy and they're all been cooped up.
Insane, you know, and these are kids from like 6 years old.
Right, it's awful.
And I feel like, you know, our community has done so much to feed kids at a time when it was really majorly critical. And now I want to protect them.
Okay, great.
And I have a goal of $1 million by my birthday again. So
okay, you'll get it.
And I saw you did a fundraiser with Lisa Rinna for that foundation last week. Was it? How much did you raise?
We raised nearly $20,000.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It was amazing.
Doing God's work.
Oh, she is. Well, you get people like these two, people will give because they admire their journey, and it's terrific. You guys are doing a great job.
And we're very lucky. We're very lucky, to live the life that we live, to be able to move our bodies. That is a luxury. To time to do something for yourself like that. But we're also lucky to have great friends, real friends like Lisa, like Kelly Ripa, you know, and who always show up, who like, I mean, I can text them and immediately it's a yes.
Right. It's great.
You know, and I think that's another lesson, is really just surrounding yourself with people who care. People who give back.
Yeah.
We have a special, you know, this month is Child Abuse Prevention Month, which is why I've made it a point that every weekend I do a live stream fundraiser on Instagram to raise money for World Childhood. And this, can I say it? Yeah. You're the first to know, actually. This Sunday, Easter Sunday, I'm doing a Torch live stream with Naomi Watts, which I'm really excited about. I love her. She's a long-standing champion of children's charities and helping the disenfranchised. So I'm really excited about that. So Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, we will try to spread the word. So two-parter question about the actual workout. Well, first, actually, Jeff, how culty are you when it comes to Torch? Like, will you ever miss a class?
Okay. I mean, I actually had never done it before. And truthfully, when I followed him and we were talking, I just couldn't do it at that time. The way my workday was structured, I would take meetings in the morning and I would do my work in the afternoon. So I would never catch the live, and I didn't really know what was going on. So It wasn't until I actually met him in person, I came to New York, he made me do it in the guest room. I figured out what exactly was happening. It was fascinating to watch. And I say two things about what he did. One, I think he democratized fitness. He made it available for everybody. He has, over 400 live stream workouts that he saved on there that you could just go on and do at your leisure. And a lot of his fans will go back and do old ones and then tag him and say, this was a great one. And there was one in particular that he hurt his arm and needed to take a couple of days off, and he made me do it. And he sat in a chair with a face mask and a robe on.
A Versace robe.
Literally dying because I was not prepared.
I had a mimosa and I was directing him, and it became sort of like a legendary one that people were like screaming.
They loved it. They loved it.
Yeah, tell me about it. The other thing I think that he did that was very special was he actually gave people permission to take like 45 minutes, an hour for themselves in a day. And I think I see a lot of mothers and a lot of daughters in his classes, and mothers in particular, we know mothers, grandmothers, they don't really take time off. They don't really take time and do things for themselves. It's always about the family unit. It's always about somebody else. And so I think his audience has been built on this foundation of giving people permission to take time for themselves and to meet mothers and daughters that do it together, that brought them even closer together, and that gave people that in a time of uncertainty. It helped with mental health.
For an older person who's not so athletic or not as physically fit as her other grandma, I mean, are there lesser levels of the exercise that you also put on?
Well, the methodology of what I do and what Torched is Torched is torched. You do what you can.
Okay.
So I have people who started out doing it two years ago and could only do 5 minutes of it.
Okay.
And I said, that's amazing, because that's 5 minutes more than doing nothing.
Right.
Show up tomorrow. The next day, they could only do three minutes. Then the next day, only 2. Then the fourth day, they could do 10.
By the way, this is me.
No,
I think I might need a 2-week entry.
and just honoring your body and knowing what feels good.
I like to ask all of our guests like what their relationship with their grandparents or grandma was.
If they had one.
If they had growing up or now. Could you guys share?
I was extremely close to my grandmother, my mother's mother. She was really like a mother. She was my mom. I mean, I say that respectfully. She was, I always say my mother taught me drive and my grandma taught me love. And I think growing up, in an extremely conservative, extremely Catholic, extremely rigid, extremely poor family, I was an anomaly, and I was the first child. I was the first grandchild.
Right.
My parents were extremely young, As Dickensian as my childhood was, I can never complain about it.
Okay.
Because it really made me a survivor, and I wouldn't have achieved what I've achieved in my life had I not had a hard upbringing. But conversely, it's also because my grandmother was a source of unconditional love. There was a sense of levity to it. She sadly passed 12 years ago. But we talk about her every day, and I have a photo of her near our bed everywhere. I always carry it, and I light a candle. And
well, that was a source of love, and it was love that was unconditional, as you say. That's and in a time when you were growing up, it was very hard, I'm sure, to be homosexual or in the community that was conservative and certainly Catholic. And this was time, it's so different today. You can't even explain it to the young people today because it's so different. I remember it very well, and it was tough for you, and you came out of it, and you have a wonderful husband, and it's terrific. It's makes me so happy.
Thank you.
I am adopted, and so my mother's mother was the only grandmother I actually had. My father's mother passed away when I was very little, and she was a very stalwart figure in my life for many reasons. She was very traditional, but unfortunately had a somewhat untraditional trajectory, being a woman who got divorced.
Okay.
A very upper class town in Quebec called Hudson, right outside of Montreal, very Catholic, and to be divorced at that time in the late 50s was just not
It's unheard of. Very few.
Became very close with a Catholic priest named Father Royden Toms, who effectively became my grandfather. They lived together for 50 years, as far as we know. And
it's a Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
Very traditional, yet she had that untraditional experience in her life, but very chic, very glamorous. Not the warmest and fuzziest woman, but
she used to tie him to his chair with Hermes scarves to
Stop.
Love it. Well, then I'm not sure that was abuse.
If it was like a knockoff brand, 100,
Then it would be
abuse.
Exactly. She was structured.
She was rigid.
Still didn't leave marks. So that was a fun tool for her to use. But she did have her sweet moments. We had a great nanny who used to make the best chicken dumpling soup, and my grandmother, with all good intention, tried to make that chicken dumpling soup. But hers always had too many vegetables. It wasn't quite as good. But she was an amazing cook, and for many years, I think she knew I was gay. I never came out to her, but she'd always take me like to buy jewelry on my birthday. It was just like a very
Okay, so she was getting a hint.
to accept it, but she just had a hard time.
All right.
And had that conversation, but that's all right. And then in the end, she had a very she went into a coma, but before she went into her coma, she had renal failure and things like that. She actually did apologize her state for some of the things that she had done throughout her life to myself and to my mother. So it was an interesting way for my relationship to end with her.
Yeah.
Well, times you can't channel the thoughts of what people were thinking then. It was a puritanical society, and they couldn't cope with any kind of change. We've come so far
And
in the last 50 years, and we still have a long way to
Broadway. We're gonna
go. That's true. We have a long way to go, but we've certainly moved forward in the right direction, hopefully.
But I do think elements of our upbringing, like I said before, were important.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And it's important to have resistance. And I think it's important to have discipline. I just do. And I wouldn't be who I am today without it. Now, I wouldn't raise, if we ever had children, I wouldn't raise.
You were raised, that's correct, but that's all right. But you got a backbone from how you were raised.
I would take elements of it. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Foundation is important, and if you're never challenged by somebody for your opinion or your thoughts, you don't learn or grow. And we talk a lot about things, and we're both very curious people, I think, because we did have people that challenged us growing up. So it makes you more curious and more open to hear other people.
Yeah.
And that's important.
So I want to end the episode with a game we play with all of our guests, Grandma Gail's old-fashioned dating quiz.
Which doesn't apply to you guys. Believe me, we already heard some of the answers, but she's going to do it anyway.
All right.
Basically, it's a quick round of some hypotheticals, and then we will deem whether you're more of a traditional dater or more of a modern dater. Okay. So the first one is, would you rather receive a call or a text from the person you are dating if it's just to say hello?
Oh, wait, you got to say, is Isaac going first or Jeffrey? Because they don't see
Okay,
us.
Isaac will go first and Jeffrey will go second.
Exactly.
Text.
Okay.
Really? Yeah.
Would you sleep with someone on the first date?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Dating apps or setups?
Setups.
Yeah, setups.
But you met on a dating
No,
app,
they
you
met on
guys.
Instagram.
Well, that's the same thing. They weren't set up by their relatives.
Story, actually. We have a mutual friend who lives in London named Danielle Pizzarini, and she, about a month into us dating, Isaac posted a video of us, and she DM'd him and said, "Are you Jeffrey from Toronto?" She's in London.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Jeffrey, who I've been trying to set you up with for 3 years."
Oh, wow. That's
way.
so funny.
Meant to me somehow, some way.
It was destined.
But it was.
It
you
worked
know,
out. It worked out. So we were sort of set up, but it worked out with perfect timing for us.
Yeah.
Interesting. Move in together before getting engaged or after?
Right away.
Before.
They didn't waste 1 minute.
And we were living in Sin for a while.
He moved in the first day we met.
Yeah, that's so nice.
I think it's so funny.
I never packed light, and this was the one time I did.
Yeah.
And do you think that in a couple you should alternate who pays for things, or that it should be like one person in the relationship?
I mean, I think that depends on the couple. I do. I don't think there's a rule for everyone, and some people like a more traditional setup, and it works, and it works for 85 years.
Yeah.
So it depends.
They're half and half.
Say, I think it's always about balance, and you bring different things to a relationship. And as long as you both know what your worth is, it doesn't matter who
And
puts
what
the
your
card down.
contribution is. So
Yeah.
that there are other
Right.
ways to contribute to the relationship.
That's what I've always said. My husband made the money and I made dinner. And it works. And we're married a million years. So, if you got your role and it's good for you, be happy.
Exactly.
It's like, how does a battery work, right? There's a positive and a negative side. There's the opposites.
Right.
To create
Mhm.
power.
You
I like
guys are
that.
so cute. I love
Yeah, I
you.
think a little bit more modern, but like a little bit split.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit traditional.
Yeah.
Not much. Not much, but you're good. We like
Yes.
it.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Tell our listeners how they can follow you both.
You can go to Instagram and follow Isaac Boots, and check me out on isaacboots.com.
And you can go to Instagram and follow me at his name's Jeffrida. Honey, why don't you sing it for them?
His name's Jeffrida. His name's Jeffrida. That was created by Kelly Ripa. It was a whole thing, or whatever. So
We
he's
love it.
Yeah.
We're going to follow you both.
Yes, we already do on our
Well, Kimberly follows you all the time. I'm going to have to follow you now.
Okay, hope you guys liked the episode with Isaac and Jeffrey. Again, you can follow them, check out their workout if you haven't, and you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Excuse My Grandma. Rate us 5 stars wherever you're listening to the podcast, and we'll see you next week.